Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Excited for today's show. We're going to talk about the top 10 running backs headed to the 2023 NFL Draft. It is rookie season, my favorite time of year. I've been watching these players for 2-3 years, playing Devy and playing Campus to Canton fantasy football, and it is time. It is time to start really digging into the 2023 rookie class on this channel. So here we are. We're going to go through my top 10 running backs, all right? So what does this class look like overall, all right? I think the class looks like overall pretty deep. I think that's been the consensus for the last couple years. BIJAN Robinson is the king of this class. We're going to talk about him here shortly. A lot of people are comparing this class to the 2020 class where we had Swift and Taylor and Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Dobbins and Akers. And most of those guys at that time, we were thinking were going to come out and get immediate starting opportunities. I'm not sure this class looks just like that. I think there's potential to have 2 or 3 starters immediately, but after that, I think some guys are going to take a little bit of time to develop, but we'll have to see how the draft goes. So it's early in the process, all right? It's in between Christmas and New Year's. Hope you had a great holiday. But, man, this is my favorite time of year. Love scouting rookies, helping you guys get the right players for your Dynasty roster. So hit that subscribe button if this is your first time here coming across this channel. I got all sorts of great stuff. I got film breakdowns, rookie reports, in-depth rookie reports on all of these players as we head to the NFL draft. So let's just get right to it. All right, it's going to be no surprise, peeps, right? I mean, the number one guy in this class, and he has been for the last 2 years, is Texas running back BIJAN Robinson. All right, so you'll see here on these player cards, we're going to go through these player cards when we talk about these players. All right, we're going to talk about their size, their career statistics briefly, scouting report, draft capital projection, and dynasty projection. All right, so we're going to give you the full package here. Look, it's early in the process, like I said. Things are going to change. We've got Combine, we've got, Senior Bowl, we got all sorts of stuff, but it's going to be a great early look at the top 10 backs, and I'm excited to share my thoughts with you. All right, BIJAN Robinson, he is the king of the class, right? He is just fantastic all around. I just made 2 all-22 film breakdowns for my Devy dashboard. Subscribers, you can see on this YouTube channel and my profile, you'll see a video there to kind of give you an idea of what that's all about. But so watching him, he is the complete package, right? Look at his career statistics here. He's averaged 6.3 yards over a 3-year period, but more impressively than that is his yards per catch at 13.4 with 60 receptions. So that is pretty sweet, all right? He is the complete back. So from a scouting report standpoint, I love his vision and his lateral ability. Really good. His power, contact balance, he's got acceleration, and he can catch the ball out of the backfield. So he's got the size, the power, the elusiveness. He's the complete package. He should get round 1, draft capital without a doubt. It's going to be interesting. Hopefully he lands in one of those great spots like Miami or Atlanta or maybe somewhere that has a good team that he can really expose defenses through his game. He is a special player. His dynasty projection, I think he's the 101 in all superflex drafts. So, I'm not crazy in love with the quarterback class, right? I mean, Young I'm concerned about his size. Stroud, coming from Ohio State, sometimes, that scheming doesn't always lend itself to success in the NFL. So to me, I'm taking him 101. But, that'll be your choice when you're hitting your rookie drafts, what you want to take. But BIJAN Robinson is the guy at number 1 for me and for most people out there. If you're not taking BIJAN Robinson first, you're probably, kind of going off the grid a little bit. But, hey, it's your team. You do what you want to do. All right, number 2, JAHMYR GIBBS. All right, transferred from Georgia Tech, went to Alabama. Good decision on his part. He's 5'11", 200 pounds. His stats, again, look really good. Average 5.6 yards. He's a 3-year player. He's a junior. And his receptions to 102 receptions over 3 years, right? So this is going to be his calling card in the NFL, man. This kid's going to be a great PPR back. All right, averaged 11.3 yards per catch. Explosive player. So scouting report. Explosive athlete I have here. He's elusive. He's versatile with his pass catching ability. Now, you're going to see on these scouting reports, starting with GIBBS, all right, I didn't see many negatives with BIJAN Robinson, so you don't see here. But again, my goal with this show is I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat and make all these 10 guys all great. They're all going to hit our dynasty rosters. I'm going to try and point out some things that if they don't hit our rosters and don't be successful, maybe we got to look at the good and the bad with these players, all right? I'm not one of these guys that's, again, going to just tell you they're all going to be great. They're all going to be wonderful. Watched a lot of film on these players. That's what this channel is dedicated to. And I'm just going to give you my honest assessment. Now, there's going to be guys that are concerned about Gibbs. They're going to be concerned about his size and, his durability concerns. He's been durable for 3 years in college. So I'm not, thinking that he's going to have durability concerns. But given that he's only 5'11", 200, and there's people out there that are saying that he might not even be 200, but we'll have to wait till the combine when we get those official measurements. But nonetheless, I think Jahmyr Gibbs is the number 2 back taken in the draft. The draft capital here, you're going to see the images underneath the draft capital projections. These are from NFLmockdatabase.com. So, they basically accumulate all the mock drafts out there. So I just imaged them in here so you could kind of see currently, where the mock draft community, which are NFL scouts and, people that do this for a living, have them. So he's a round 1 or 2 guy. I see him in some mock drafts at the end of round 1. At the beginning of round 2, I don't think he gets out of round 2 personally. His dynasty projection, I think he's a first round pick, either the 102 or 106, depending on how you feel about the quarterback class or if there's a wide receiver that you just love. But in any way, I think he's going to be an early round 1 rookie pick. I think he's going to be an RB1 and an RB2 potentially in a couple years if given a good opportunity on a good team. And I think he's an immediate starting PPR back. I think a team is going to draft him and immediately plug him into their lineup, hoping he can add some explosiveness to their NFL teams, right? So, all right, after that, I think there's like a teardrop. And I think this is the overall consensus with the class. I think, Gibbs and Robinson are up there. And then I think there's a lot of changes and a lot of people with different opinions, all right? And so I'm just giving you my opinions. I got number 3 here, which is against, I'm going to go with Devon ACHANE here, 5'9", 185-pound back. Now, guys that know me from my Devy dashboard and my community know that I've always been a size guy. But there's something about ACHANE. He's been durable for 3 years playing in the SEC, okay? His statistics, 6.4 yards per carry for 3 years. He's had 65 receptions, 8.5 yards per catch. So the guy has got some speed. Now, yes, he is undersized, but James Cook is 5'11", 190, and he's showing some flash up there in Buffalo, being used sparingly. So Devon ACHANE, to me, is not going to be a guy that's going to come in and get a 3-down roll, right? But he's explosive. And as we know, the NFL freaking loves speed, right? So think they're going to take this guy thinking if they've already got a bell cow, they've already got a guy that can, bruise up the, between the tackles. Why not add a special place or a special piece like ACHANE to add to their, their offensive game planning? So his scouting report, he's an explosive athlete with speed, all right? He's got great pass-catching ability, which from a dynasty standpoint, we love that, right? We want guys who are catching the ball, but he's going to be able to contribute on special teams. I think he did a lot of kickoffs for Texas A&M, and I think he's going to be, that is going to help his draft stock because guys are going to look at him not only contributing in the passing game, as we know, the NFL, it's all about NFL back committees, right? To look at Dallas and the way they use Pollard and Zeke, I can see ACHANE being deployed like a Pollard on a good offense. Hopefully he gets that landing spot that we all love. Now, his, so special teams are going to be a feather in his cap, and I think teams are going to fall in love with his explosiveness and his ability to contribute to that part of their offensive scheming. Now, the size and durability concerns are what everyone's concerned about. I know. Typically, I'm not a guy that goes after, smaller backs. But in this case, given what I've seen for the rest of the class, I think I'm going to keep ACHANE here. Probably within my top 5 by the time we get to the NFL draft, all right? So exciting player. I think he's a round 2, 3 guy, day 2 guy. I think he's going to be, as far as the dynasty projection, there's going to be a lot of guys that are going to fade him because of his size and go for the bigger backs. And there's a lot yet to figure out with the draft capital, right? So that changes a lot when we get actual draft capital. So again, we're early in the process here, but I think he's a rookie in your super flex rookie picks. I think he's going to be a round 2 guy. I think he's got the value. I think he's got a ceiling of an RB2 or 3, solely for, the pass catching ability. And I think he's going to be part of a committee and a solid PPR back. So I think he has the ability to come in immediately and contribute on a team. They're going to deploy him relatively quickly if he's smart enough to get the game plan and all of that under control early in his career. I think he could be an early producer on our dynasty teams. All right, number 4, we're going to go with Mr. Zach Charbonnet, 6'1", 220 pounds. Now, last year when he came out as a junior, we were all disappointed that he came back for his senior year. But, man, the dude was super productive over a 4-year career. 5.9 average. I think this year he averaged over 7 yards. It might be 7 on the dot, but 7 yards per carry, which is great. So he came back for a senior year, super productive. Guy can catch the ball too. 75 receptions over 4 years, averaging 7.9 yards per catch. So, he's no slouch when it comes in the passing game. His scouting report, all right, what I really like about Zach Charbonnet is his vision and patience. He's got a 3-down workhorse frame, especially the fact that he can catch the ball. Now, things that I'm a little concerned about, a couple things. He runs high with his pads. He plays in the Pac-12, which always concerns me a little bit. I was never a Rashad White guy only because of the Pac-12. His production has been great, but man, the Pac-12 defenses are pretty rough and with a lot of missed tackles. But he's got that big frame, 6'1", 220, that I really like. He runs a little high on his pads, okay? He doesn't have that breakaway long speed, and I think his footwork is a little shaky when he gets in the second level with some speed. But out of all of these backs, I like him. He's getting the draft capital buzz right now in the industry. I think from a draft capital standpoint, I think he can go from round 2 to 4. He might be a day 2 guy. I won't be surprised at all if day 2 we are disappointed with not many running backs as we expect to be drafted. All right, that might be kind of crazy or whatever, but that's just where my thinking is right now. So I think he could go late day 2 or round 2 rather, or he could be an early day 4 guy. Okay, his dynasty projection, I think he's going to go anywhere from a late first-round rookie pick to a late second-round rookie pick. His value ceiling, maybe an RB2 or 3 after a year or two. I'm hoping Zach Charbonnet is drafted by a team that's looking for a bigger guy that can just be a 3-down workhorse back. I think he's going to be a committee back. Don't think he's going to come in and get an immediate starting opportunity, but he's got starter upside. So if he can get in there, kind of work his way in, get the playbook together, I think he has the ability to be a guy that a team will lean on. All right, coming in at number 5, a fan favorite of mine, Blake Corum, 5'8", 210 pounds. Okay, I have a feeling Blake Corum might come back to Michigan for a senior year. I don't know. There's just something. He got the injury late in the season, but I'm keeping him in here really at number 5. All right, so again, 5'8", 210 pounds. His career statistics over 3 years, 6 yards per carry, and then he had 40 receptions, 7.4 yards per catch. So he was used in the passing game. He looks natural as a pass catcher. Wasn't really involved in that Michigan offense much in the passing game, but I still think he has the ability to do that if given that time in the NFL and giving the opportunity, rather. Scouting report, love his vision, his patience, change of direction ability. He's got good contact balance, but what I like about him the most is his intangibles. And that's not something we should ever underestimate, what the work ethic is of these players going to the NFL, because it matters. Either you got to be all in, and if you think you can just rest on your laurels coming from college and get by, that doesn't work in the NFL. I think people are going to love his work ethic. They're going to love his tenacity, and he's just a really good guy, and he does a lot for the community, and I think teams are going to like that. All right, from a draft capital projection, I think he's round 3 and 4. He could sneak into day 2, but I think he could be again day 3, early day 3 guy. Dynasty projection, I think he's a second-round rookie pick. Might get into the first round with if he gets early draft capital on a great team, but I'm not expecting that to happen. I think he's going to be a round 3, 4 guy. And a value ceiling, I think he could be an RB3 or 4, come in a year or two, depending on his draft capital and landing spot. All right. I think he's going to be a committee back who could be a spot starter if, in fact, the guy goes down or if there's an injury to one of the other guys, running the backfield. I think he would be able to come in and say, okay, Blake's going to be the guy for this game. Don't know if he is going to be a guy who is going to be a bell cow taking the majority of carries on a team. All right. So that's the same size as DeAndre Swift. All right. So, again, DeAndre Swift was a very high, guy back in 2020 who's been struggling to stay healthy up in Detroit. Blake Corum seems to have a different build. Really liking Blake Corum. I hope he gets that draft capital and ends up on a good team. Like the Saints would be kind of, filling in maybe for Kamara would be a nice kind of landing spot for him. Coming in at number 6, Kendre Miller. All right. Really, really good at TCU this year. 6 foot, 220 pounds. Again, he's a 3-year junior, averaged 6.7 yards per carry. He has been super, super productive. Only 29 receptions, 7.9 yards per catch. Hasn't really been involved much in the passing game this season. But, from looking at it, again, we can't knock players who are not asked to catch the ball in college. Doesn't mean that they can't do it at the NFL. Scouting report, quick feet, acceleration, like his dense frame and contact balance. My only concern concern with him is his patience and his wasted movements. Sometimes he dances too much. Sometimes he's, doesn't have patience and he just runs right into the line of scrimmage. But overall, I like his size. I think now you'll see here from his draft capital projection, right? He's got 158 on NFL mock database draft.com. All right. So you can see I've got him as a round 3 to 5 round back right now. I think he could maybe sneak into day 2, but he's not really getting a lot of good buzz in the NFL scouting community. But I really, really like his game. And I think that he, again, as we're early in the process, we got 3.5 months left till the draft. So as more guys get eyes on KENDRE Miller after the bowl games and stuff that are happening next week, I think there's a good possibility that KENDRE Miller will maybe rise up draft boards a little bit. But I like him better than the other guys below here that we're going to talk about, all right? So from a rookie draft standpoint, from a Superflex rookie draft, I think he's a second-round pick, I think. Might go into the late 3rd round, but I don't believe so. And you'll notice, guys, on these rookie draft things, I've got wide variety of land, I've got a whole 12 spots here. It's just so early in the process, you can't narrow down exactly where these guys are going to be drafted. In rookie drafts, we don't have draft capital. We don't have combine information. We are early in the process having some fun here. I think he could be a potential ceiling from fantasy, an RB3 or 4. I think he's a committee back that will, again, be a spot starter. Will he take over a full-time job? Possibly. But I don't see a team drafting Miller and throwing him right into the mix unless he goes to a team that maybe just doesn't have a back and they really like what they see. All right, coming in at number 7, Sean Tucker. Now, I'm probably a little lower on Sean Tucker. You're probably like, you're number 7, and we're only talking about Sean Tucker, 5'11", 205 pounds. Again, 3-year player, 5.4 yards per carry. He had 589 attempts, over 3,000 yards, really productive. Kind of took a step back a little bit this year, receiving 64 yards, 9.7 yards per carry. So his scouting report, love his vision, his footwork, his change of direction skills are good. His body control and pass catching, he's got some acceleration. He's actually got some speed. My concern with him is his pass blocking is below average and his play strength. I don't see him moving a lot of piles. He's a shifty player. I like that. I like his footwork. I like his be able to, his vision and his be able to see that. But I don't know. He just never seems to move a lot of piles and goes down a little bit too quickly on contact for me. So I have him a little lower than most people. I see him as around 2 or 3 right now. So he might get that draft capital. So it's hypocritical to say he's number 7 and getting rounds 2 or 3 draft capital. But a lot of other people are a little higher on Sean Tucker than me. But like I said, we got a long way to go before draft season. So some of this stuff's going to change. But I'm lower on Sean Tucker than most guys. All right, his dynasty projection, I think he could go in the late 1st round and to the middle of the 2nd round right now. I've done a few mock drafts on my Devy to Dynasty dashboard crew. We do mock drafts all the time, and Sean Tucker is getting that draft buzz. He is he's number 3 or 4 for a lot of guys, and I get it. I think he's been super productive, but you got to be careful because production in college doesn't always translate to the NFL. To me, it's about what you see on film and their skill set, not just what their production is. I get that a lot when it's like, oh, but look what he ran. He ran for this and that, and and that type of thing. Doesn't matter. It's nice that he's been productive, but going to the NFL, folks, is a whole different ballgame than playing in college. All right, coming in at we're going back to value. So he could be an RB2 or 3. In a couple years, and the committee back, I think he's got starter possible upside and a spot starter as well. So maybe I'm a little too low on Sean Tucker given the community, but we'll see how it goes. We got a lot of time before we get to the draft, and I've got to make a decision because all my rookie drafts are after the NFL draft. Coming in at number 8, which is going to be a shock to a lot of people, is Zach Evans. 6 foot, 215 pounds, 3-year junior. Transferred from TCU, went to Ole Miss, 7 yards per carry over 3 years. He had only 26 receptions for 11.5 yards per carry. All right, my scouting report on him. He's an explosive athlete. He's got footwork. He's got burst. But what is it? Why do I have Zach Evans number 8 when most people have him number 3? All right, and you can see from the draft capital projection, he's a 2nd or 3rd round pick in the eyes of a lot, as well as in the number 53 overall. So in mock drafts, he's getting drafted in the first 2 rounds. All right, he's not getting the 1st round draft capital. That's not going to happen, but maybe 2nd round. My biggest concern with Zach Evans is I think intangibles coming out of high school. He had some issues with his whole recruiting thing. and his vision and is a little concerning for me. I think he takes what's given to him, but I don't see a lot of creativity in his game. I don't see a lot of creativity. Quinshon Judkins came in, took the majority of the carries. Not majority. That's not fair. I would say split half to half with Zach Evans. I've just now, he's played, I got some notes here I want to read to you. In 2020, he played 2 ranked teams, top 25, and he averaged 3.5 yards per carry. In 2021, he didn't face any 2020 top 25 teams. And in 2022 versus Bama, he averaged 2 yards a carry. And in Kentucky, another ranked team, he averaged 2.7 yards a carry. I think Zach Evans might be a little overrated. I'm a little lower than him versus the rest of the community out there right now. So maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but this is my show, and I'm giving you my honest film analysis of these players. Okay, when I do this, I'm not trying to just put them in the list that everyone else has them. I'm looking at the films, looking at their positives and negatives. And Zach Evans is somebody that I think he's just a little overrated. I think he's got good size at 6'2", 215, but again, his vision to me is just not great. He leaves a lot of cutback lanes, and runs into congestion too much for me. His dynasty projection, he's probably going to be a middle, maybe a round 1 rookie pick all the way to a middle of round 2. He won't be for me unless he lands in Miami and gets early day 2 draft capital where he is going to be given an opportunity. But if he falls into the round 4, 3, late 3, 4s, and gets behind another back, then, I'm going to be concerned. I think he's a committee back, and he could be a spot starter. I'm not sure he's going to be a guy that goes right into the NFL and gets a starting opportunity. All right, 2 more players here to round out our top 10. Tank Bigsby, 6 foot, 213 pounds, and you're probably saying to yourself, dude, you're out of your mind. Tank Bigsby, 3-year player out of Auburn, ranked number 9. Well, I got a little bit of concern with his game as well. I mean, averaged 5.4 yards a carry, 62 receptions. I think he can catch the ball. Okay, scouting report, I think he's got good size. I think he's a physical runner. He's explosive. He's a little bit elusive. But again, his vision to me, his patience and creativity are lacking. I think he looks like a plotter to me more than this explosive change of direction, make guys miss kind of back. And that's just my honest assessment when I watch film. So trying to give the viewers here just an honest opinion. I'm not a professional scout. Most of the people that do these shows aren't, right? So, but I think I got a pretty good eye. My track record is pretty good in hitting on some of these players. And you watch Tank Bigsby, I've watched 4 games on all 22 of him approaching the line of scrimmage, and there's lanes that he leaves open and runs into congestion again. So I do have concerns. His draft capital projection, rounds 3 through 5. I think he's, maybe a day 2 guy. A lot of people are like, dude, he's 213, he plays in the SEC or whatever, okay? But I just don't see it. So I'm going to give you some more stats here, just kind of like I did for Zach Evans, all right? In 2020, when he played Alabama and Georgia, in 2020, Alabama, 3.5 yards a carry. Georgia, 3.9 yards per carry. In 2021, Tank Bigsby, 2.2 yards per carry against Alabama, 2.8 versus Georgia. In 2022, Alabama, 4.2 yards a carry, a little better. Georgia, 1.9. So he's averaged 3.3 yards a carry against Alabama and 2.9 against Georgia, right? So I take those numbers because it kind of correlates with what I see on film of, those 2 teams are what NFL teams are more going to look like. Does he have the elusiveness? Does he have, the vision to get where he needs to be? That's my concern. Dynasty projection, rookie draft, I think he's going to be a 2nd-round pick in most people's eyes because most people got him number 4, number 5. No, just not for me. I think his value is a 3 or 4. And he's going to be a rotational back with a committee back with a spot starter kind of opportunity. So that's kind of where I am with Tank Bigsby. It kind of reminds me of Isaiah Spiller, right? Remember the guy coming from Texas A&M last year, or 2 years ago? Everybody was all thinking a SEC player. Tank Bigsby kind of falls into that realm for me. All right, number 10, we're going to go with my final and last pick is Kenny McIntosh, running back, 6 foot, 210-pound back from Georgia. Now, listen, this guy's a 4-year senior, wasn't producing early on in his career, but as we know in Georgia, they got so many backs that, young guys usually don't get an opportunity. So why do I have him here at number 10? Well, he's been kind of productive, 5.5 yards a carry over 5 years. He's caught 70 balls over 4 years at 11.5 yards per carry, or per catch, rather. What I like about his scouting report is he's got that vision and patience and physicality. He's got that Georgia toughness that I like. You can just see it. He drags the piles. He gets every yard, all right? I think he's a dual threat receiving back. Again, looking at Cook, right, who came from Georgia as well, he is getting that role up in Buffalo. I see Kenny McIntosh getting that role as well as being a, committee PPR back. The big question with him is his thin frame and his speed, right? He's not going to blow you away with his long speed, but I think he'd be a serviceable, good, Georgia tough running back that a team is going to like given where he's played and where he's come from, and I think he's going to be a good, solid addition to a team. So draft capital-wise, he's probably around 4 or 5. That's where we're going to be getting now. 10 backs is normally, the 9th, 10th back in NFL drafts. You're getting into the 4th round at this point. And Superflex pick, I think he's going to be a 3rd-round pick. I don't think a lot of people are into Kenny McIntosh unless he gets exceptional draft capital, which maybe happens. I'm not 100% sure. His value ceiling, I think he's a running back 3 or 4, and I think he's going to be a committee PPR back. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he doesn't get early run in trying to help a team with pass catching chops. So there you got it, man. There's my 10. Okay, so here's my top 10. What you're looking at right now is my top 10 kind of list on my Devy to Dynasty dashboard. So if you're interested in learning more about this product, go take a look at my featured film on this YouTube channel, and you can reach out to me via email for information. It is a fantastic resource. And if you're watching this, and again, this channel is dedicated to helping you get an early look at rookies by really scouting your Dynasty players for tomorrow. Now, 2 guys that I have, number 11 and 12, that just didn't make the list that I could see in the future jumping into the list. Israel Abanikanda from Pittsburgh, super productive player this year, and Eric Gray from Oklahoma. Had a really great year for Oklahoma. So those are my 11th and 12th players right outside my top 10 that could possibly, when I watch more film and get more information on them, they just might hit that top 10. So, all right, man, that's it. Thanks for watching. And again, hit that subscribe button. I appreciate any kind of subscribes or likes, and leave a comment. Let me know. Tell me I'm nuts about Tank Bigsby. I love it. Tell me how crazy I am that I don't have Sean Tucker number 3 or 4, and how crazy I am that I have ACHANE up at number 3 right now. So we'll debate, we'll talk. It's all in good fun. Again, just trying to give you guys a real perspective on how I see the class. It's deep. Should have some guys hit our Dynasty rosters. Certainly my play, certainly a lot of my teams could use a couple of these players as we head into the 2023 Dynasty season next fall. So again, thanks for watching.